Good evening, and we are so glad to have you as part of our audience today. This is a program that I think you'll really enjoy. This evening, we have two outstanding guests. My first guest for the first two sessions is going to be Tanya Braun. Now, Tanya is well known in our community. She does a lot of things. So I'll be talking to her about several things. So as I always tell you, I want you to get paper and pen and write down all of this information. And if you have any questions after the show or during the show, write down and just contact Tanya and ask her, look, I missed this part. Can you clarify this for me? What is this part about? And so on. But before I introduce Tanya, let me say something else about voting. I've talked to our county clerk, San Marino, and one of the things that we're looking at is talking about the absentee ballots. Now, because everybody's going to have an absentee ballot, we don't have to worry about when or how or requesting it. You're going to get one. But the main thing that you need to look at is be sure that you vote. Now, from the NYE County Democrats and NYE County Republican Party, they both asked me to look at and make sure people get out and vote. So at a combination of everybody within NYE County, please that's your responsibility to vote. We want to take care of that. Now let's get on with our show this evening. And our first guest, Tanya Brown. Tanya, first of all, tell us something about yourself, because there are some people out there that may not know who you are, although I'm going to say 90% do.
There may be people out there who don't know who I am. I'm the field representative for RSVP, Retired Senior Volunteer Program.
Okay.
And it's very rewarding to finally be involved with a program that actually supports seniors on both ends. It provides seniors an opportunity to volunteer and make a little extra money. And it also opens the door for us to volunteer for seniors in our community. So it's kind of it's a great program. That's what I'm doing now. I actually worked at this wonderful station. I love the people here. They're absolutely fabulous. I also worked for Nathan Adelson Hospice out here in Pahrump in marketing, and I worked at Inspirations. I'm like a rolling stone. I get bored easily, so I just keep on going. But I have a very diverse background, and it's why I'm able to pick up so many different things to do. But thank you for inviting me, Tom. It's really an honor.
You know, when we look at that and you look at all the hats that Tanya wears, I mean, if she had them all on right now, you wouldn't be able to see her. They'd be piled all in front of her. But when we look at the things that she's doing, when she talked about RSVP, and we're talking about our senior citizens, this is the area that is so, so important. But today we want to talk about something else, which is dementia-friendly Pahrump. And when I look at the things that are going on with dementia-friendly Pahrump, I thought about Tanya, and we decided, why not let everybody know what's going on? It is so important and such an important topic. So I'm going to start off by asking Tanya, how did you get involved with dementia-friendly Pahrump? And then let's talk about what dementia really is.
I started with dementia-friendly Pahrump actually before I was working for RSVP. Any kind of apparent mental illness is always treated as though you have typhoid. And the fact is that there's millions of Americans living with dementia. We really need to learn more about it. It was important to me to learn more about it. My aunt had dementia, so I wanted to be a better niece. My daughter lived in Italy, and she had an aunt-in-law who was suffering from or living with dementia, and I wanted to share that knowledge with her. So I really took it into myself to kind of get involved with Dementia Friendly by being on the initial committee. And in a couple of years, it has grown. And then the pandemic hit, and it sort of messed us up a little bit, but we're still working. Now, as field representative for RSVP, I'm the co-facilitator for Dementia Friendly Pahrump. So that's how that all came about.
Oh, well, that sounds great. Now, the question I have is, we have people that are watching this show tonight, and they're saying, how can I become part of this? What would they need to do to join the group or whatever it is so that they can also get information on dementia-friendly Pahrump?
It's really fairly simple. It does help to have a computer. They're changing the dementia-friendly Nevada committee meeting, it's the midst of change now because of the pandemic. It's going to become statewide. So all of the different towns and areas that have a dementia-friendly program, they're setting up a date where we can all be involved. That's critically important for people who have somebody in their family, or even if they have a family member who has dementia. And actually, if back to Tom and his pencil and paper, there's a way to register so you can find out all the different things that are going on in our neighborhood, and that's through Dementia Friendly Nevada, all one word, .org/Dementia Friends, Dementia dash Friends. That's the way you'll kind of find all of the different programs going on. And it's important to become involved. But we've got a couple of programs that are helpful to people. We have informational programs that are offered online via Zoom. And that means you can actually call in as well. You don't have to have a camera. And it's the third Wednesday of each month from 12 to 1. So you do it from the comfort of your home, but that's the email you get a hold of. And one of the things that we really recommend...
Tanya, would you repeat that email again?
Okay, it's dementiafriendlynevada.org/dementia-friends. Or you can call me at 702-845-4748, and I will be more than happy to share that slowly, because it's really important. And if you are living with someone with dementia, you can call in on this informational program and learn about it, but you can also include them in the conversation. So if you're a care partner, you're partners. If you can bring your partner in on the discussion, you'll both get a lot out of this particular information program, and it's different each month. So or third Wednesday. So I find it very important.
Excellent. You know, when I think about that, and one of the reasons I got involved with dementia-friendly Pahrump was because I had a cousin in Minnesota, and she had dementia. And she and I would argue and debate, and it'd go back and forth, and then I realized she's got dementia. I didn't know that, but I attended one of the meetings and realized everything I was doing was wrong. Once I learned how to handle and talk to someone with dementia, my cousin and I got along fabulously. So I owe it all to dementia-friendly Pahrump to educate me. And I know some of you would also like that same education. And that's why Tanya is here tonight. So Tanya, is there a way to say, avoid having dementia, or can you prevent dementia?
Yeah, probably not. You can help you with brain exercises. There's an article coming out in the Pahrump Life magazine that does have a list of things to do to help keep your brain active, keep your body active, eating healthy, stay exercising, and things like that will help. But dementia can be caused from an injury. Dementia can be caused genetically if you have a family history of dementia. Or you could be the only one in the family that has it. They haven't really gotten to a stage where they can say, well, yeah, if you have your DNA done, you probably could. But it is not one of those things that will, one, go away, or two, not happen. But they're working on it. One of the biggest, most important parts of the Alzheimer's Association and the Dementia Friends program, which, by the way, is national, is research. And the more you can research people who are living with dementia and their care partners, the more you can help those living with the syndrome. So, but avoid, if you're going to get it, you're going to get it. The best thing to do is keep active and engaged. And for family members, talk to your family members, talk to your loved ones, have a discussion. Let them lead the conversation. Ask them why. Ask them whatever they're talking about or whatever they're involved in. Ask them why they're interested. It's those discussions that help keep the brain active and help make the patient with dementia feel as though they have a purpose, and everybody needs a purpose.
I agree with you completely. Everybody needs a purpose. They also need to understand that the things that they're going through. Now, you mentioned something about Alzheimer's. Now, where does dementia fall in the scale or the realm of Alzheimer's?
Actually, dementia is the umbrella. And under the umbrella of dementia is Alzheimer's, along with about 144 other neurological syndromes or illnesses. So Alzheimer's is just part of it, along with Parkinson's disease, and it takes many different forms. And Alzheimer's itself comes in many different forms, and that's why getting a diagnosis sooner is better than later. So if you notice things kind of going a little off kilter, or if the family is noticing things that are just not quite right, that's the time to really start getting busy with your doctor, because the sooner you get it addressed as an issue, the more likely you are to have a more productive life.
You know, and it's so important that we do that. People need to understand where they are, and the family members, the caregivers, need to understand exactly where they are. Now, I know we're running out of time for this first session, and we're going to cover so much more in the second session. So we're going to invite you to come back. Be sure, again, you have pencil and paper to write down a lot of the information, and especially the contact information for Tanya. Come back and join us.
Better.
3, 2, 1.
Welcome back to the show. We're so glad to have you back with us. I want to introduce my guest again. It's Tanya Braum. And Tanya is, well, she's a person that wears so many hats, we can't talk about all the things that she does. We did in session 1, so we're not going to go through that again. But she works with RSVP, and she's working now doing a lot of things with dementia-friendly Pahrump. And we've talked about dementia. We've talked about whether you can get rid of it. We've talked about whether it's the umbrella and what it is. And we need to go into more detail on that, because I think we may have missed somebody or lost somebody along the way. So Tanya, I'm going to ask you again, when we talk about dementia, what is it that we're really talking about?
Actually, dementia is a brain disease. It impacts the brain. A lot of it's the blood vessels, and apparently there's some impact with plaque that slows down the blood flow to the brain and does damage. And there's so many different ways that it happens. It depends on which part of the brain it impacts. It depends on the resulting dementia that comes from it. You can have somebody that's 100 whose mind is just as sharp as a 15-year-old, or you can have somebody 35 who all of a sudden is forgetting things that they should know and acting out in ways that are inappropriate and unfamiliar, where family members are shaking their heads saying, what is this? Very, very rare, early onset dementia, but it does happen. And it is one of those things that can be very challenging, but it doesn't mean that they can't live a productive life and their care partner can't enjoy their company. It's just finding a new way to live.
You know, when we look at this overall, and we're finding that, yeah, somebody may have dementia, but I need more information. And I know I've watched this show. I've tried to track everything that Tanya is giving me, but is there a website or something I can go through and look at and get more information?
You can do it through Dementia Friends, then that's the dementiafriendlynevada.org, and they have a myriad of information available about the different programs, the different studies going on. The other really key outlet for information is the Alzheimer's Association. Again, it's a national-wide association. We have a support group here in town, which is very helpful for anybody who is living with the circumstances of dementia being part of their life, whether it's their life or their family member. But there's a lot of information, and that's what more important than anything. The more you can learn, the better off you are. At the RSVP office, I have a library of information that's helpful and a way of journaling the journey of dementia. And so you can call me at 702-845-4748, and you can come and pick up the information that I have. I have stuff that I can lend out, so you can take it, including movies. And I also have books that you can take and keep as a resource that you have at your fingertips, which I highly recommend. Of course, my office is on the campus of NYE Communities Coalition, and we are a mask-needed environment. So if you come to my office, do wear your mask when you get to it. But it's very important for you to reach out for more information, and that's why I'm here. And that's why I ended up at RSVP, because obviously it's something I feel passionately about and want to make sure people who are living with dementia learn as much about it as they possibly can, and they become proactive for their own life.
You know, Tanya, you've mentioned several things, but one of the things that I guess I noticed was the videos. They have several videos that are, it walks you through a lot of the things that you need to see, understand, and be able to present to someone that may have dementia. And I thought they were fantastic. If somebody wanted to see the videos, is that part of the lending information that you're talking about? Or is that something they'd have to find somewhere else?
No, that we have that information in our office. We also have that people can borrow. We also have movies about stories about dementia and living with dementia, and where you see the interaction and the ramifications of the interaction. But there's a lot of videos, there's a lot of books, there's so much information, because the goal now is to have dementia be not a curse and not something that you can't say. I remember for decades, anybody was diagnosed with cancer, it was, oh, I have the big C. All of a sudden, what? And now you do that. Now we're trying to take people out of the dark ages with dementia and making sure that they know and understand that it's just another part of being human. And, I don't think they have anybody else that has it. And I think one of the ways people can learn that living with dementia is not necessarily a curse, we have something called Let's Talk About It. And it's actually a conversation with Dr. Jennifer, who is the PhD, Dr. Jennifer Carson. She spearheads our organization, the Dementia Friends here. And the other person involved is Chuck McClutchy, I'm sorry. And Doug was diagnosed 6 years ago with dementia, and he runs a podcast, and he's an advocate, a national advocate for Alzheimer's. So, and they just have a conversation, and people can call in on this and actually become part of that conversation. It's a great way to get comfortable with an illness that's not a curse. It's just another illness. It's just another thing that happens to the human body.
It is so important that we understand that as well. And if we have a family member or a loved one that has dementia, remember, it's not a curse. And it is something they can still have a very productive life while having dementia. It's when they deny, as my cousin denied continually that she had dementia. But she was forgetting things. We were having conversations over and over. But once I learned how to react to that, it sure helped her and it helped me, because the arguments went away. If she asked me to the same thing over and over and over, I repeated it over and over and over. without letting her know that she was asking it. And so the arguments went away, and we began to have, I'd say, nice conversations. I was glad that I understood exactly what she was going through. But that's what learning all about Dementia Friendly is all about. And that's why we're telling you and advising you to contact the numbers that you see on the screen. Contact the website that you see on the screen. Follow up, learn as much as you can. And Tanya, again, she's inviting you to her office to borrow information, to gather information. It's available to you. No excuse for not understanding what dementia is all about. Tanya, tell us more about that.
I actually have a few helpful hints that for caregivers or care partners, I think that they're changing so much of what's going on to make sure people understand that this is a partnership that both the person taking care and the person with the dementia know that they're working together. So the helpful hints that I have, always make eye contact. Talk person to person. If your loved one is sitting down, sit down and talk eye to eye. Make sure that they know that you're engaged in that conversation. Tell them what you're going to do if you're a care partner and you have to give them a shower or feed them or something. Tell them first what it is you're going to do and before you do it. So their attention span can be short, so you don't want to startle them. Speak calmly. Just keep your voice level, which is a riot coming from me. Use short sentences, gear it towards their level of understanding from what you've gathered just by being related or being in their surroundings. And this is important. Only ask one question at a time and wait for the answer. Don't lose patience, just because you're engaging them in a conversation, and maybe they're going to take a few minutes to kind of understand what that question is. Don't say remember, because you know what? They don't. So, and that is embarrassing to somebody who says, darn, I forgot that again. So don't start anything with, don't you remember? Turn negatives into a positive. If they say something negative about themselves, turn that around. Find a way to turn that into a compliment. I worked with a lady with Alzheimer's, and she would get angry at herself, and I'm going to cry. I'm so stupid, and she wasn't. She was a brilliant woman. I made sure she knew that I knew that she was a brilliant woman. And this is key. And if you write this stuff down, underscore this a dozen times. Do not argue with them, because you might just as well turn around and stare at the wall and argue with it. You're wasting your time. You're wasting their time. You're starting an aggressive reaction. Nobody benefits. So just agree. If they tell you the sky's turned green, say, oh, and isn't that a lovely shade of green? So, because there's no point. One of the things that's critically important, keep a routine. Do the same things at the same time all through your day. It keeps their life simpler. It'll actually help you with your life, and it's just easier to cope. Find things they can do. Find out what interests them, and then encourage them to be part of it. Don't assume that giving them crafts is what would engage them. But ask them, what would you like to do? Or would you like to do this? But give them choices, but make sure that they're kept engaged. And that's and make sure the family is also engaged.
Tanya, I agree with you completely. And this is exactly why we talk about this. All those tips that you gave, if I had learned that right away, that would have helped me tremendously. Now, look, we're running out of time. And again, you have all the information. Call Tanya. Find out exactly what you can do and what else you can do to help your person with dementia. And come back and join us. Welcome back, and we're so glad to have you back with us. And now I have a new guest that I need to introduce, and my guest is Kathy Mckenna. And Kathy, I am so glad to have you with us this evening. And one of the things we're going to talk about now, Kathy is the executive director for Nevada Outreach, and I know many of you are asking the question, what in the world is Nevada Outreach? So I'm going to ask Kathy to tell us, what is Nevada Outreach? But first, tell us something about yourself and how you got involved in some of the programs.
Good evening, Tom, and thanks for having me back. So I was here a couple months ago as the executive director of Pioneer Territory CASA, and I don't want anybody to think that I have left. I actually do both organizations. So I'm actually the executive director for both Pioneer Territory CASA and Nevada Outreach. And I was working at Pioneer Territory CASA when the board at Nevada Outreach came and asked, hey, we've got this other little project over here. Would you mind coming and helping us? And sure, why not? I got a little extra time. Well, now I will tell you that I'm keeping busy, Tom. Nevada Outreach is a wonderful organization, and it does so much for the community and for NYE County. And I think a lot of times people don't realize everything that we do there. We have a multiple list of programs. Probably the one thing I would like everybody to know is that when they hear Nevada Outreach or Nevada Outreach Training Organization, it also means no to abuse. I have a lot of folks that say, oh, where are you? And I said, oh, Nevada Outreach. And they're like, never heard of it. And I'll say, no to abuse. And they're like, we know that. No to Abuse is actually a program that is underneath Nevada Outreach. And that program is for domestic violence. So the No to Abuse program has domestic violence. So we help people with that are experiencing domestic violence and help them get out of their situation. We help with also elder abuse, which is under the No to Abuse, when unfortunately elders are abused or they're taken advantage of, or financially they are harmed. So we help them there. And then we also have the Children's Advocacy Center, where we do forensic interviews for children who have been physically or sexually molested. And we work then closely with the Sheriff's Department and Department of Child and Family Services and the DA's office. So that's kind of under the No To program. But we also have other programs that a lot of times don't get heard about as much as No to Abuse. And one of those is our training center. We have training center that helps with life skills, helps with budgeting. We have anger management classes. We have parenting and co-parenting classes. So that's something that truly helps our community. And then we also have our HealthLink program. So the HealthLink program usually is active between November and December, November 1st and December 15th. But now with, we've had it turning off and on with the COVID-19 to try to help people that have lost their health insurance due to COVID-19, either a loss of jobs or a reduction of hours. And what we actually do is help them navigate the website to get them the health insurance they need, or in a lot of cases, it's being able to sign them up for free health care because they qualify and just didn't realize it. And then we also handle a veterans fund that we get from the county. And so those monies are earmarked totally for veterans and their spouses to be able to help them if they should get down on their luck with whether it's rental assistance or utility assistance. And that goes right into our Family Resource Center. So during this time that we're seeing with COVID-19, so many people have lost their jobs or they've reduced their hours and they can't pay their bills, Tom. And it's truly hard on our community to see so many people out of work. I think they said the state of Nevada is at 30%, and I would be surprised if it's not higher for Pahrump. And we help. We write a lot of grants. We've received money through the Ken Ross Gold Mountain Round Mountain gold mine. We were given $15,000 to help specifically for COVID-19. to help with rental assistance, to help with utility assistance. Gas is an issue, trying to get gas cards, helping with doctor bills and co-payments. We've even had to use it, unfortunately, for burial expenses for somebody that couldn't afford to bury their loved one during this time. So Nevada Outreach is such a wonderful asset, and that was one of the big reasons why I took this position, is because I so thoroughly enjoy being able to help those in our community. It's not a handout, it's a hand up. It's helping people when they're needing help.
I have to say, wow. I did not realize Nevada Outreach had such an outreach. And this is just fantastic. All the programs that you just mentioned, and I'm hoping that I know people trying to write them down said, wow, I didn't know that, and I didn't know this. And that's exactly the way I felt. So I know I'm going to have you run through a lot of those programs again, just so people know. But I'm hoping that we can get on the screen the phone number so they can call you, because I know a lot of people are going to have a lot of questions about what's going on, or a website and exactly how to navigate what everything Nevada Outreach does.
Absolutely, Tom. And in fact, they're also welcome to come to our office. We have, during this COVID-19, we have been considered an essential business. We have not closed one day. So we've been open every day. We're at 621 South Blagg. A lot of people know where we are, but there's still some that don't. And that is crucial, to have people that don't know give us a call or stop by. We've been helping folks that don't have a computer, or maybe aren't as computer savvy, to sign up for unemployment. Because we've had so many people walk in and say, well, I've been out of work since April. Have you filed unemployment? Well, no, I didn't think I could. Okay, well, let's try to sign up for unemployment. And a lot of these folks have gotten unemployment when they couldn't put food on their table or pay their rent. So it's the work that our programs do, and I'd like to take the credit, Tom, but I've got wonderful, wonderful people that I work with. And they are the ones that I can honestly say work closely with our community to make sure that we help them in any way possible, so they don't lose their homes and their lives aren't totally disrupted.
You definitely do have wonderful staff there, and we're so proud of them. And we're proud of you for that very reason. That when we look at everything that you do, I'm looking at the veteran organizations, the veterans that come to you. I know the county has supplied some funds for them, but you do so much for everybody, not just for veterans. And so when you have somebody that's there, you do everything you can to help them. When we find it's a veteran and you've exhausted everything you can do for veterans, then the veteran organizations try to step up and help. But we prefer that everybody goes to Nevada Outreach first. They do the vetting to make sure and find out exactly what your needs are. And when they contact the veteran organization or another organization to say, this is what this person needs, it adds credibility. So I'm going to encourage everybody that needs any of this that Kathy has talked about, go to them, go to Nevada Outreach and start your search right there. They're the ones who can help, and they help everybody. And when I say everybody, I'm talking about the veteran organizations as well. They do such a great work, and I'm just so proud of them and so proud to have Kathy on today. Kathy, on some of the programs, mention some of those again, the ones that are, I guess, highly sought after.
Unfortunately, during this time, people are cooped up, they're at home, they're stressed. We see a lot of folks that domestic violence or child abuse does unfortunately rise to the top. So we do try to help those people, male and female. This isn't a female-only situation. Unfortunately, it affects both the young and the old, and male and female. And so we help anyone who is who has domestic violence to get out of that situation. And sometimes it's just a bad situation for two parties, And so what we try to do is help both lives, you know, if that means separate or means training classes to move on with their lives. As you said with the veterans, you know, we exhaust all possibilities. 95% of our money comes from grants. And so my job is usually keeping busy writing about 15 to 20 grants a year to make sure that we have the funds to be able to not only support our staff, but to be able to support our services. And so we can, in a lot of cases, pull money out of multiple grants to be able to help that person and do that case management to see where they're having struggles and what we can do to help turn their car around and get it on a straighter track.
Again, this is just so much information and a wealth of information. As you noticed, as we started the program tonight, Kathy wears more than one hat. She's involved in a lot of things in our community, and in everything that she does is helping somebody else. When she talks about writing grants so that they can have funding for you, when you're going through some tough times, regardless of what the tough time is. And when she talked about the fact, domestic violence, we wish there was no domestic violence, but we know that there is. This is the agency that's going to help us minimize that and get it down to, we'd like to get it down where it's non-existent at all. But at least we're working on it, and it's something that she does well. Elder abuse. We don't want that in our community, but it happens. This is where you go to make sure that things are done properly. There's so many programs there. The programs that she's talked about, truly, truly outstanding. And I'm going to encourage everyone to make sure you know exactly where I say no to abuse, Nevada Outreach is. This is all of their programs together. You need to know where they are, and you need to be able to find them. Contact them. Contact Kathy, let her know that, hey, this is my situation, what should I do? And they'll provide the information for you. And Kathy, is anything else closing on this session?
I was going to say, we do our best to make sure we keep our Facebook updated so people know what's going on. We do our best to, we help everyone that comes through the door. And we have a lot of people that come in, and pride is one of those things that usually is the toughest part to overcome.
Okay.
And we
now come back and join us for the next session, and we're going to give you a lot more information.
Sounds great.
In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Welcome back for our final session. I always hate to get to this final session because we have so much information for you, and we want to make sure we get it all to you. So again, I have Kathy Mckenna. She's the Executive Director for Nevada Outreach, and there is so much information. So Kathy, I'd like you to, one more time, just run through your programs, and then we have some other things we'd like to, for this fantastic audience that's watching the show tonight.
Absolutely. So again, Nevada Outreach is also known as No to Abuse, but it's mainly because it's No to Abuse is one of the large programs that we have underneath it. And No to Abuse works with domestic violence and elder abuse, as well as our Children's Advocacy Center, where we do forensic interviews with children who have been physically or sexually abused. And it's an unfortunate situation, but it's a need that is a very high need that's in our community. We also have a training center there that helps with parenting and co-parenting. And you don't have to be, we do a lot of court-ordered, but you can come in and say, hey, I'm about to be a new mom, and I really don't know anything about babies and parenting. And you're more than welcome to join, as well as we have a grandparent support group that are raising their grandchildren here in Pahrump, and we do have quite a few. So that is open. Anger management classes. We also have a family support program for people that are struggling, you know, having that family. We don't get a manual that comes with these children that tells us how to raise them, and sometimes it can be difficult. So we help families that need to help get back on track on what it's like to have a supportive family. A lot of times it's educational neglect or environmental neglect. And so we do our best to help that family any way that we can. We also help with HealthLink. HealthLink helps people sign up for health insurance. We help navigate on the website with them. And sometimes we find that you don't even have to purchase the insurance, that you actually qualify for free or reduced cost insurance. So until you look into it, you actually don't know. We work very closely with the veterans. We do have a veterans fund that are monies that are given to us from NYE County that help veterans within NYE County. And that can be anywhere from rental assistance and utility assistance. We've gotten propane before, we've helped with trash. So it's a very flexible fund that allows us to help the veterans with whatever need they have. And then our largest program is actually the Family Resource Center. And that, Tom, is one of the big things that I want to get out today, especially during this COVID-19 time. People are struggling financially. And remember, you're not alone. Everybody is experiencing something with COVID-19. There's no one that hasn't been affected. And so financially, if you find yourself in hardship, what we most want is them to come by the Family Resource Center, sit down, talk with our case manager, and let us take a look at what we can do overall to help your situation out. The exciting thing about the Family Resource Center is our wonderful community does so much for donations, Tom. They give us appliances, furniture, beds, small household appliances, clothing, baby items that we can actually, we bring in and we turn around and give out to those people in need. We've had people whose houses have burned, people who have been homeless. We work very closely with the homeless to get them into their own place, get them off the street. We've been able to then help them with furnishing that house so that it is a home, not just a house. So the Family Resource Center is so crucial to our community. And with that, as I said, we take donations for that. We also take monetary donations, but one of the big monetary donations is volunteer help. If you have time, especially during this COVID-19 time, and you just need to get out of the house, we have a huge yard in the back where we house all these items. And so without the help of our volunteers, you can bring me bags and bags and bags of clothes, but if I don't have enough time to go through them and hang them up and sort them by size and by men's and women's, nobody would actually be able to utilize that stuff. So the volunteers are such a crucial part of our operation that we never seem to have enough.
Kathy, I would just like to say, in all the discussion you've given us so far this evening, not one time have you mentioned the cost of all of this to the patients or the people that are coming in.
The cost is zero. That's why I spend my time writing grants, to be able to give everyone that needs help without any cost to them. It is very, very important to us that we provide those services to the community. And that is one of the reasons why we've been able to, is due to the grants and to the generous help from community members with donations and being a volunteer.
So you do accept donations. How do you accept donations?
You can go to our website, which is www.nevadaoutreach.org, or you can go on Facebook and you may donate through there. You're welcome to stop by our office at 621 South Blagg, and we have people that will do a mini rummage sale, or they'll do a motorcycle bike ride and stop in and say, hey, we've got $200 that we just made over the weekend on our bike ride, and we'd like to donate it, which is just absolutely awesome. Because there's things that a lot of people don't even think about, like diapers. We go through hundreds of worth of diapers a month, both adult and child diapers. Tom, I don't know if you've looked at the cost of diapers lately, but it's astonishing at what it takes to have diapers anymore.
Have not looked into that, but I definitely understand, and they're definitely they're needed.
Oh, they are. Wipes, we have people, we had a gentleman stop in the other day and probably gave us $650 worth of what I call paper products. So it was diapers and wipes and toilet paper and paper towels, and what a fabulous donation. And he just said, hey, I know you guys need these, and dropped them off and left. I don't even have his name. So it's wonderful. A new program too that I will mention that we've recently started is supervised visitation through the courts. So when DCFS is needing a supervised visitation for foster kids and their biological parents, or between two parents in civil action, we also do supervised visitation. So our doors, to be honest with you, Tom, is always, the doorbell's always ringing, and it's constant people in and out. And I leave my door open. I'm right in front because I want to say hi to the people as they come in. I like to see what all's happening and to make sure that the people of our community are getting the best service they possibly can.
You know, you mentioned your volunteers. If someone wanted to come out and help, could not provide any money or clothes or something else, but they just want to help, what would they do?
Oh my gosh, it is invaluable. We've had people that actually have come out that have helped answer phones or the door. Our biggest need is helping us with our family resource yard. So we get, I can't even tell you how many bags of clothing and household goods, baby toys, furniture, household supplies. Every day we take in donations. And as you can imagine, they come in a bag or a box. And so in order to be able to get those to the community, we have to go through and sort them and put them in their respective places so people can find them. And that's where volunteers have been so invaluable.
Volunteers are always necessary. And when we look at, I guess throughout our community, I'm going to say throughout NYE County, throughout Pahrump, we find that volunteers are the ones that make the big difference. So here for Nevada Outreach, they need volunteers. If you have some free time and say, well, what can I do to help mankind? What can I do to help my community? What can I do to help those other people that may need something? Then I say go down to Nevada Outreach, volunteer some time. I'm sure Kathy would be waiting for you, and thank you for coming in.
Absolutely. We can't, we've never had what we call too many volunteers. And we have some people that have limited mobility that said, hey, is there something that I can do? Absolutely. We can sit you down and have you do something. There's usually always something that needs help. Shadow Mountain Quilters came in yesterday with a huge box of brand new baby clothes. And they came in last week with homemade quilts and pillows. And all of those have to be readied because they're in a big box or a bag to be able to give out to the community. So there's always something to do, regardless whether you're strong or young, or, we can use everybody from all walks of life, and we so enjoy it. And I think we actually make it a good time as well.
When you talk about the volunteers, whether they're volunteering their time or finances, I know you can use all the money, and you've already stated that. So if you decide, look, I can't volunteer any time, but I do have some extra funds because I haven't had to buy a lot of gas lately, let me donate some money. And again, Nevada Outreach can use that as well.
Absolutely.
Now, Kathy, something we haven't talked about is that tax deductible.
Absolutely, it's tax deductible, whether it's cash or whether it's donated items. Both of those are definitely tax deductible.
Excellent. Now, because we're running out of time again, and this is our final session, I just want to give Kathy some time to just summarize some of the things that she said. She's only got about 10 seconds. Go ahead, Kathy.
Come by, see us, 621 South Flag, or you're welcome to call at 775-751-1118. Let us know how we can help you. During this time, everyone needs a little bit of a hand up.
And they are there to help. They're there to help our community. Nevada Outreach. The executive director is Kathy Mckenna. She's also, well, she does so much in our community. Go by and see her and let her help you. Thanks for watching the show tonight, and we'll see you at the next show.